By adding the lavender into the raisin cookie, it gives it a very nice floral note to it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a beautiful smell.
You can see that my butter is adhering to the sides really well. It's changed in color slightly. It's gotten a little bit lighter. I'm going to start adding my eggs in 3 additions. And I always wait for the first addition to be fully absorbed before I add that next addition to it. So I'll stop, I'll give this a little scrape, and I'll let it absorb back in. It shouldn't look real wet and glossy, but rather it should take on a mayonnaise-y consistency.
And it's important that all your ingredients are at room temperature.
Absolutely. It helps them emulsify more easily.
And that's the danger by adding too many eggs at a time, because otherwise you don't create an emulsion, rather separation of things.
That's right.
It looks beautiful how it comes together now. Now, anything done to the raisins?
Oh, the raisins aren't pre-treated.
Because they would normally bleed then into the cookie.
That's right. We don't want to have moisture migration around there. It gets gummy.
And you know, I always like to use the parchment paper when adding the flour. It's very helpful when adding the flour into the mixing bowl.
Yes, you can't get a bowl to bend to meet the shape of the mixing bowl. You end up with half of your flour on the table otherwise. It's just starting to turn a corner now, and you can see how the consistency is changing. It looks very wet at this time. In a moment, the butter will absorb the rest of the liquid into its aerosol structure that we created by creaming this. It'll become more emulsified, and we'll see the butter grab back onto the sides of the bowl again.
Do you want me to add some of the oils into your last egg?
Please, about 2 drops.
2 drops. Okay, there we go. It's never a good idea to add these lavender or any other oils right into the machine in case you overpour. And you can smell all this lavender oil now. So what I learned is, in case you add too many eggs at a time and it doesn't create an emulsion, then adding a little touch of flour into the wetness will help to bring it together.
It can absorb some of that starch. You also, however, risk the trade-off of a little bit of additional gluten development. Sometimes it's an issue of your temperatures not being quite right, so you can try warming the bowl slightly. You do need to be careful that you aren't creating so much heat that you're melting your butter and then you really ruin your aerosol structure. This is beginning to emulsify now, though. You can see it's beginning to grab back onto the side of the bowl.
Also a little bit lighter in color by now. Now, in how many additions do you add the flour?
I add my flour all at once.
Okay.
And I always lower the bowl before I do and drop it to first speed so I don't get a face full of it. You want to go ahead and add that?
Sure. So it makes it nice and easy to add the flour. Okay, there we go.
And again, I pulse it initially so that I don't get a face full of flour. And then I'll let it run. And as soon as this begins to grab together and become a dough, then we'll go ahead, we'll add the raisins to it.
And you want to make sure that you don't overmix it, so you have too much gluten development.
That's right. So just as soon as I see that my flour is well distributed, it's just now beginning to come together as a dough. You can see it's balling up on itself, and now it's beginning to grab onto the paddle nicely. So now we can add the raisins. It's come together as a dough. We have the machine turned off, and it's still in first speed. Just going to add the raisins until they're well distributed.
Again, the danger is that you overmix it and the dough gets too tough and the raisins are broken all up.
That's right.
Which is not what we desire.
Not at all. Then you have a tough cookie. So this will get divided into 4 parts, and we'll make some logs out of it.